Hello guys, welcome back to our anime explainer. Guys, please like the video and subscribe to my channel. Today is explanation of upcoming episode of Swallowed Star based on novel. So let's start. The virtual universe system's voice ringed in his ears. Mo Luo, the primal region universe level battles. Your third match is about to begin. Your opponent is Samayan. Simultaneously, the screen on his wrist immediately displayed information, and he was transported into the arena. The cold winds howled, snowflakes as big as goose feathers flew about, the ice was incredibly thick. Two silhouettes appeared above the ice. Mo Luo. A roar resounded. Samayan. Mo Luo smiled. In the distance a black-robed purple-haired youth standing on a flying spirit weapon flew into the sky. On his forehead was a complex purple engraving. His purple eyes had a peculiar demonic energy. This purple-haired youth was Samayan, a hypnotist. The hypnotist Jiolai Shi from the Genius competition was also a hypnotist. However, compared to Samayan, he was much weaker. Mo Luo. Samayan's eyes were cold. He stood on his flying weapon and gazed down. You should be clear that this battle, whoever loses will have to contest to stay. And that Kuluo Fu is obviously much stronger than 1,000 years ago. Even though I'm his bane, I don't have much of a chance. As for you, I'm sorry, but you'll definitely have to lose here. Mo Luo's expression immediately grew heavy. Pressure. All the absolute geniuses of the primal region all had pressure. The moment they were careless, they would be knocked out of their place. Just like Kuluo Fu's explosion in strength, it made their two positions at risk. If I meet Kuluo Fu, I would probably lose, however I don't have to fight him at all. Because, you'll definitely lose here. Mo Luo roared and fiercely stomped the ground. The thick ice layer was immediately shattered and countless ice shards dropped into the ocean, many more dispersing in all directions. He flashed like lightning and rushed before Samayan, his fists like a flaming shooting star. Rumble. One fist was like a shooting star punching towards Samayan, the surrounding space warped around it. Ha ha, you are too slow. 10 kilometers away, Samayan laughed on his flying weapon. Can't you see that was my illusion? Mo Luo fiercely retracted his fist and landed on the ice, gazing at the distant Samayan. I was lenient just now, however, no more. Samayan laughed and a formless spirit energy pierced straight into Mo Luo's soul. The hypnotism had already seeped in. This battle was being watched by over tens of thousands of geniuses in the core of the virtual universe company, of which included Luo Feng, Rong Jun and Wuka. On the screen, the three stared hard. Powerful, madman, savage, who do you think will win? Wuka said casually. Rong Jun too was smiling. Only Luo Feng was glued to the scene, his consciousness like an AI swiftly calculating the outcome of the battle. How would he deal with each move? Without a doubt, he wished for Mo Luo to lose. However, from the battle scene, even though Samayan's hypnotism was terrifying, when Mo Luo battled, it was indeed like a wild beast attacking. Even though he was affected by the hypnotism, he quickly broke through it and once again chased Samayan. Samayan did his best to create distance and unleash his hypnotism. The moment he succeeded, he immediately used his arc blade along with his spirit weapon to attack. Rumble. The skies and land immediately became an endless sea of flames, and within were many Samayans. With a glance, over 1 trillion of them stood about. Mo Luo. Mo Luo. Mo Luo. Mo Luo. Mo Luo. 1 trillion Samayans simultaneously spoke, and Mo Luo, who was in the center, frowned as he gazed about. He calmly analyzed it, thinking of which of the trillion was the real Samayan. This is the newest hypnotism, named the Flame World Illusion. Die. Mo Luo actually closed his eyes and didn't look, focused as he waited. Over here. Mo Luo flashed like lightning, his legs like blades flashing forward to kill. Mo Luo opened his eyes. He saw Samayan with a gaping wound in his chest, fresh blood spurting out. He could even see his internal organs. HMPH. Mo Luo smiled, however his smile quickly disappeared. His head was split in two and his body fell. Mo Luo, dead. The truth is fantasy, and the fantasy is real. The distant heavily injured Samayan stood on his flying weapon, his face pale as he smiled at the body. you think closing your eyes is enough? Primal region, Mo Luo's VR. I actually lost. Mo Luo sat in his study and gripped his fist hard, his nails pierced into his palm, his eyes still unable to accept his defeat. I still succumbed to his move. I thought that I had already broken through the illusion to his real body. I didn't expect. He used his real body to take the damage and place another environment to attack. Truth in the fantasy, fantasy in the truth. Mo Luo shook his head. Indeed, that Samayan's fire and space law melding had reached an unbelievable level. This is troublesome. He frowned. I have to contest for the slot now. Me, Bolan, Long Yun, Kuluo Fu, Yu Feng, Luo Feng, the 6 vying for one primal region slot. The other 5 will fail and re-enter the absolute beginning region. Kuluo Fu. I have no guarantee at all. HMPH. I didn't expect Luo Feng to make it to the top 3 too. I can't be bothered with him. My greatest opponent is still Kuluo Fu. Mo Luo didn't think anymore. He swiftly found Kuluo Fu's previous battle footages and seriously studied them. Absolute beginning region, Wuka's villa. Luo Feng and the others sat in the sofa watching the footage of Mo Luo and Samayan's battle. Hypnotist mixing real attacks perfectly, truth in the fantasy, fantasy in the truth. Rong Jun complimented. I heard the highest level of a hypnotist is to make the person think of the illusion as reality, living his entire life within. Luo Feng nodded, his eyes gleaming with glee. Very good. The dust had settled. The people for the contest for the primal region slot from the primal region were Bolan, Long Yun and finally, Mo Luo. Heaven has given me the chance, Mo Luo. I'll first step on you here and settle you in reality in the future. Luo Feng squinted. Yuxiong Mountain's public region had a spacious ancient pathway. The entire pathway was made of black stone. Luo Feng walked along it alone casually. After a while. Bayan Villa. Luo Feng looked up at the several kilometer in area luxurious restaurant. Outside its huge hall were beautiful and handsome staff welcoming people. Right here. Luo Feng walked in. Your Majesty Luo Feng, please follow me. A sector lord lady with a furry tail smiled and led the way. Luo Feng followed this lady and stood on the escalator, swiftly reaching the highest level. Only then did it stop. The highest level of the restaurant had a man-made river. Surrounding it were ancient trees. There was an exquisite dark gold dining table there. Around it were 7 chairs. Sitting in the chairs allowed one to fully gaze at the surroundings. Fish in the high level, swim, dine. Within this Yuxiong mountain countless geniuses gathered. It was indeed an extravagant place. Hence, those able to book this highest level were at least primal region members, or powerful undyings, the upper echelon. Your Majesty Luo Feng, I'll leave first. The sector lord lady bowed and left. Luo Feng looked at the riverside. Surrounding the dark golden table were 7 chairs, only one was filled. This intrepid man with yellow fur was dressed casually, his mouth revealed fangs. Wolfman Kuluo Fu. Kuluo Fu. Luo Feng smiled and walked over. The man turned to look at Luo Feng, revealing a rare smile. He lightly toasted with his cup and didn't speak again. Luo Feng entered and sat down. He grabbed a glass and poured himself a drink from the side rack, which had many flavors of wine. He sat patiently in the chair on the side. In the distance the door once again opened and the furry-tailed sector lord lady smiled and brought a youth in. He was strong and sturdy. He looked like a mountain, with a bull-horned helmet. His eyes seemed deep and profound. The moment he entered his gaze landed on Luo Feng. Long Yun. Luo Feng sat and toasted him. Luo Feng. Long Yun's eyes gleamed as he squinted. Back then from the same batch of geniuses, he was one of the top geniuses and entered the primal region. However, after joining the virtual universe company, within the past couple of hundreds of years, he was left far behind by Luo Feng. He was very clear, this contest battle, he was the one with the least hope. Long Yun had arrived. Very quickly, Yu Feng arrived too, then followed by Bolan and finally Mo Luo. Everybody's earlier than me. Mo Luo was dressed in a simple golden armor. He smiled as he entered, simultaneously waving, Kuluo Fu. It's been a while. Yu Feng. Ku Luo Fu and Yu Feng slightly nodded. Bolin, Long Yun. He smiled as he shouted, sitting in a chair. Finally his gaze landed on Luo Feng. He smiled as he said, Luo Feng, of the newbies, the one I most respect is you. Your improvement is shocking. Being able to meet you makes me really happy. Ah, really? Luo Feng sat coldly, muttering. Immediately, Ku Luo Fu, Bolin and the rest all turned to look at Luo Feng. Luo Feng reacted to his passionate greeting coldly. This made them feel Luo Feng was colder than before. Hua. Another door of the level opened fiercely and a silver white-robed bald man walked over. The land and skies about him seemed much brighter. He smiled as he walked over and said, everybody's here. Ku Luo Fu, Luo Feng and the rest of the six all stood up, bowing respectfully, Lord. Since everyone's here, I'll explain everything that needs to be said. The bald man stood beside them, not sitting down. He stood and smiled at the six. The absolute beginning universe level top 3 Ku Luo Fu, Luo Feng and Yu Feng. Primal region last 3. Mo Luo, Bolin and Long Yun. You 6 will have a contest for the final slot. The rules are simple. Everyone will fight once against the other 5. The winner will get 1 point, otherwise you'll get 0 points. The final tally will determine the winner. The first warrior will get the only primal region slot and become a primal region member. As for the other 5, you'll enter the absolute beginning region. The bald man smiled at the group. Everybody understand? Understood. The 6 replied respectfully. Very good. The bald man nodded. Now I'll begin to arrange the order of your battles. Following which he pointed in mid-air ahead, and a screen automatically appeared. There floated Luo Feng and the rest of their names, after which they moved about. In an instant, the battle proceedings appeared. These are your battles, the bald man said. Everyone will have to fight 5 battles, a total of 15 matches. Look closely at your own battles. Luo Feng quickly looked at the screen. 3 matches occurred simultaneously at any time. Obviously that was the greatest efficiency, and his own order was Luo Feng against Bolin first match. Luo Feng against Mo Luo second match. Luo Feng against Long Yun third match. Luo Feng against Yu Feng fourth match. Luo Feng against Ku Luo Fu fifth match. Have you all seen it clearly? The bald man looked at the 6. The 6 nodded. Official matters have been settled. Everybody can enjoy this lunch and get to know each other. The bald man smiled and sat. Tomorrow the battles begin. Everything will be settled in a day. The 6 sat down. Very quickly, all the delicacies prepared earlier were sent in, wine and food etc., all luxurious foods. Everybody ate and chatted, of which Mo Luo was the most passionate. Long Yun too occasionally smiled and talked. As for Bolin, Ku Luo Fu, Yu Feng and Luo Feng, they hardly spoke. Theoretically, Luo Feng wasn't an unfriendly person. However, after seeing Mo Luo, he had lost all mood to socialize. Mo Luo, however, didn't seem to mind. He was a lively person. It was mostly him talking. It made the entire atmosphere of the table liven up. Even the bald undying upper echelon from the virtual universe company would occasionally smile and talk. Come, Luo Feng, let me toast you. Mo Luo smiled and lifted his wine glass, looking anxiously at Luo Feng. Silence. The group had long felt Luo Feng was especially cold today. They all looked at him. The table after all had the undying there. Everybody had to show respect and not make it rigid. My apologies, I don't wish to drink. Luo Feng muttered as he held his glass. Mo Luo, who was standing there and frowning, seemed disturbed. We've both shared a tough time together. Won't you show me some face with this toast? He frowned. Once we drink this, shall we forget all our grudges before? Forget it. Luo Feng looked up at Mo Luo before returning to eat his meal, not caring about him at all. Even though his grudge with Mo Luo was huge, however, he couldn't kill anyone in the virtual universe, and the Undying was sitting there with them. He couldn't be bothered at all. Not even one drink. Mo Luo said solemnly. The rest around the table felt something wasn't right. Luo Feng continued to ignore him. Pa. Mo Luo fiercely slammed the glass on the table, his expression ugly, pointing at Luo Feng and roaring, Luo Feng, I see you for how evil you are. In Demon Note Mountain, your backstab almost made me lose my life. I hated you to the bone. However, since we are all members of the Virtual Universe Company, I don't wish to hold grudges. I showed you respect by toasting you, to forget our grudges. I didn't expect you. Backstab. Beside, Bolin, Kuluo Fu and the rest were shocked. Luo Feng looked up fiercely, his expression ashen, staring hard at Mo Luo. Mo Luo seemed to be enraged as he smiled coldly at Luo Feng. Within, however, he was satisfied. From the footage of the battles earlier, this Luo Feng is indeed very strong. Stronger than Yu Feng. He might be some threat to me. I'll take this chance to enrage and drive him crazy. When the time comes for us to face, I'll only have to use a few words to make him explode from rage within. Once he's in that state, he'll only be able to use 70 to 80% of his strength. I'll win that much easier. As long as I can beat him, then I won't have to worry about any others, just Kuluo Fu. Mo Luo Feng had completely calculated Luo Feng's mental condition. As there was absolutely no way to take revenge in the virtual universe, and Luo Feng didn't have any proof, recording. It may have been taken. However, with the advanced technology, with games being able to 100% simulate reality, what footage couldn't be faked? Those couldn't be used as proof at all. Get angry. Rage. Rage until you explode. However, in the virtual universe network, you cannot do anything to me. When we battle tomorrow and your emotions get the best of you, you'll definitely lose. Mo Luo was confident within. Bang. Luo Feng, who sat there initially with his expression enraged and silent, jumped up and violently punched him. With only a few meters in between, Mo Luo couldn't react to Luo Feng's punch that smashed his face. His nose immediately broke, his teeth smashed and falling to the floor. There was a dent in his face. Bang. Mo Luo's 4 limbs were instantly broken. Luo Feng's move was instant and fast, just like when Mo Luo backstabbed him, at extreme close distance. Rumble. Mo Luo smashed into an ancient tree behind. With a rumble, the tree tore apart and Mo Luo landed on the ground. His limbs completely broken with his muscles torn apart, he had no way of resisting at all. Luo Feng then sat on his body and his 2 fists became blurs as he madly pummeled his face in. Bang. 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 Each punch connected. The sound was shocking. Luo Feng punched his face as he cursed, "You shameless sinister little person. I've never ever seen someone as evil as you. What's wrong with my punches? How do you like them? If I don't punch you, this bad feeling won't go away." Back when Mo Luo backstabbed him in Demon Note Mountain, and he even twisted the story after, Luo Feng didn't have any proof, he didn't have any way to vent his anger within. Every heavy punch was filled with his rage. This made him a lot more carefree. This punk actually. Mo Luo, who was instantly heavily damaged and was getting punched in the face, he couldn't even defend as his limbs were all broken. He struggled for a few seconds before realizing there was no way to resist, just laying there and letting Luo Feng punch him. Luo Feng. Mo Luo roared within. Simultaneously he swiftly left the virtual universe network, and immediately his body vanished. Bang. Luo Feng's punch hit the air and landed on the stone below, splitting it apart. Only then did he stand up. Beside the dining table, Wolfman Kuluo Fu, Yu Feng, Bolin and Long Yun were all shocked from the scene. Even the undying bald man slightly frowned. My bad. Luo Feng stood up, turning and revealing a happy and bright smile to the group. I was too crude earlier. This punk. The bald man shook his head. Luo Feng had indeed made a move earlier, however the Virtual Universe Company were very lax with these group of geniuses. Once the path was chosen, everything was allowed to be chosen solely by their wills. As for the battling within the Virtual Universe Network, that hardly meant anything to them. As no matter how you fought within the Virtual Universe, no one could die. Hence the Virtual Universe Company didn't even care or manage such things. The only thing was, subconsciously, these groups of geniuses were after all peerless talents, hence they usually cared about their appearances. Even more so when an upper echelon from the Virtual Universe Company, an undying actually comes. He represented the upper echelon of the company. Naturally people wouldn't do such things. However, Luo Feng still went ahead with it. So what if I beat him up? I'm crude, so what? Luo Feng thought. The bald man beside the table shook his head and got up, looking at Luo Feng, indeed a disciple of Truyang Emperor, exactly like your teacher, explosive and fiery. However, you control yourself sometimes. I'll take my leave. After he finished, he left. Only Luo Fu, Yu Feng, Bolan, Long Yun and Luo Feng were left at the table. Vicious. Bolan said. You actually made a move. Long Yun said as he looked at Luo Feng. From that attack earlier, he could see that Luo Feng had a wild mad streak deep within his bones. If I don't beat him, it would be unbearable. After doing so, it felt great. Luo Feng laughed loudly as he walked to his seat and sat down, lifting his wine and downing it in a gulp. I feel much better now. That Mo Luo's shamelessness, if I didn't vent it out, I couldn't take it. Shameless? Long Yun frowned. Bolan and Yu Feng had curiosity in their eyes. From the information they had gathered in their short interaction with him, Mo Luo should be a nice guy. That Mo Luo is very scheming. Beside, Wolfman Luo Fu suddenly said. The rest all looked at him. I've suffered a little from it. Wolfman Luo Fu looked at Luo Feng. However, from the looks of it, Luo Feng must have lost more. I almost lost my little life. Luo Feng teased. Mo Luo quickly returned to the virtual universe primal region, within his own villa. This Luo Feng actually made a move. He dared to make a move. Before the upper echelon undying, he dared to make a move. Mo Luo was aching to fight. Attacking someone in the virtual universe couldn't kill anybody. However, Luo Feng was simply too vicious and devious with his attack. He actually instantly broke his forelimbs. Thus he had no way to fight back. Luo Feng even sat on him and violently smashed his face in. Rage? There were no injuries on his body. However, the shame was a lot more unbearable than the damage. Shame, humiliation. This Luo Feng. Mo Luo gritted his teeth, wanting revenge. There was no way at all. This attack was completely one-sided, and he was helpless. After the gathering ended, Bolan, Luo Fu, Yu Feng and Long Yun could be said to have watched a good show. Mo Luo held the rage within. Luo Feng, however, was carefree and happy. Second day. Contest battles were officially beginning. Luo Feng's first opponent was Bolan. That Long Yun is indeed not a threat at all. I'll settle him in an instant. Mo Luo sat in his dark, quiet study, opening a screen and swiftly selecting Luo Feng and Bolan's match to watch. Mo Luo was previously heavily injured by Bolan before he killed him, hence he didn't dare belittle Bolan. To Luo Feng, he naturally knew how strong he was. As Luo Feng had defeated the 4 warriors that had passed the 7th level of the Heavenly Bridge, hence he had the right to participate in this contest battles. His strength was definitely strong. Mo Luo recognized the importance of Luo Feng and Bolan's fight. Who's stronger? He stared at the screen. Let's hope Bolan teaches Luo Feng a good lesson. The scene on the screen was the air above an ocean. Luo Feng and Bolan's fight was very exciting. One used the blade world while the other had space as the main and time as the support. His attacks were terrifying and unpredictable. The flow of time constantly changed as the two battled non-stop without a clear advantage in either. This Luo Feng can actually match up to Bolan. Mo Luo frowned, not good. Luo Feng is about to win. The vast skies above the ocean had completely become a blade world. The skies and land warped. Countless amounts of blade energy revolved about. Luo Feng stood on his dark cloud shuttle in mid-air. Before him, 2 powerful threads of blade energy had condensed. In the distance, the white-robed and blood-red blade-wielding Bolan was obviously fatigued. There were many heavy wounds on his body, from his chest down to his legs. Fresh blood stained the white robe. Luo Feng, you are much stronger than back then. Bolan stared at Luo Feng. You are very strong too. Luo Feng looked at Bolan. However, let's end this battle now. Bring it. Bolan stared at him. Actually, when Luo Feng had heavily injured Bolan earlier in the fight, the end of the battle was already set. 2 threads of blade energy tore through the skies, infused with gold origin laws and space origin laws. Plus it was 2 threads of condensed blade world energy. It attacked swiftly from 2 sides at Bolan. And the heavily injured Bolan swiftly dodged. He was however affected by his injuries, barely blocking 1 thread of blade energy, the other pierced right through his forehead. Rumble. The blade world dispersed and countless gold lights swiftly returned to the dark golden long rod on Luo Feng's back. Bolan's body fell from the skies, landing in the endless ocean. Luo Feng looked at the body fall from mid-air, shocked within. Actually, he had treated Bolan with respect. He didn't instantly take out all his strength and wipe him out, but only used part of it to enjoy a good fight with him. However, even so, he was shocked at Bolan's improvement speed. Before, when he unleashed about 300 times of his spirit energy, along with the Nanshan armament's blade world, only then could he unleash 2 threads of blade energy to kill Bolan. I passed the 7th level of the Heavenly Bridge much earlier than Bolan. However, if I didn't receive the Demon Note inheritance, if I didn't have my soul pressure advantage, then I wouldn't even be his match. Luo Feng was shocked within. Bolan's strength was actually so much stronger than Sajin, Ge and Ni Nan. He was probably comparable to chemist Yu Feng. Bolan's improvement was too shocking. He had only passed the 7th level 2 years ago. His strength was already close to the primal region's Mo Luo. This forced Luo Feng to have to amplify his spirit energy to 300 times before he could win. Of course, if Luo Feng had used his soul pressure and amplified his spirit energy to above 1800, the battle would have ended instantly. Teacher was right. He thought, Bolan's talent in space laws are incredible. The moment he focuses on it, his improvement speed would be shocking. And combined with his partial comprehension of time laws, the two melded together, they are indeed a troublesome and dangerous combo. The Universe Primal Chaos Tablet. It was the hardest one of all and also the strongest. Luo Feng was teleported out. His first battle, Luo Feng against Bolan, victory. Results, 1 win, 0 draw, 0 loss. Within the quiet study, Mo Luo had finished watching the footage of the battle between Luo Feng and Bolan. He couldn't help but nod. This Luo Feng is indeed strong, comparable to Bolan. He revealed a smile, however. I have a guarantee of defeating Bolan. Even though it may be troublesome against Luo Feng, I'll still win without a problem. The second match is about to begin. My opponent is Luo Feng. Mo Luo's eyes gleamed with wildness. Luo Feng, I'll make you taste despair with this match. Absolute beginning, Luo Feng's Villa's study. He was watching the 2 other battles that had occurred. Mo Luo against Long Yun, instant victory. Kuluo Fu against Yu Feng. It was slightly troublesome, but Kuluo Fu still won. Wolfman, Kuluo Fu is simply too strong. Luo Feng instantly let go of his feelings of relaxation, his own strength. He was very clear. As he had received the Demon Note inheritance, his spirit energy amplitude had been raised over 20 times. It made him leave Sajin, Ge, Ni Nan and the others far behind. Chemist Yu Feng, as a chemist, was simply too peculiar. It was a little troublesome, but he still won. Only Wolfman, Kuluo Fu, no matter how hard he tried, he couldn't win. Even though my spirit energy amplitude is strong, my comprehension isn't enough. I still cannot reach the Nanshan armament's bald world's 2nd level, omnipotence. He thought, right now I can only be considered at the pinnacle of the 1st level. Nanshan armament's 6th level blade world could be split into 3 levels. 1st level, gathering 1 thread of blade energy, condensing more of the blade energy allowed 1 to form 2 threads, 3 threads. The distance used could be increased, and slowly 1 could gather more threads further. The 2nd level, 1 could swiftly condense the blade energy anywhere. For example, condensing it suddenly behind the opponent's head, instantly killing him. The 3rd level was even more absurd. It could condense the entire blade world into 1 blade. That 1 blade infused with all the world energy, instantly killing the opponent. Currently, Luo Feng was only at the pinnacle of the 1st level. This was relying strongly on his spirit energy amplitude. In terms of law comprehension, just these few years of work had a limit on his improvement. Luo Feng, your 2nd primal region contest battle is about to begin. Opponent Mo Luo. The virtual universe system's voice rang in Luo Feng's ears. He was already teleported. Luo Feng's second battle began. Part 1 end here.